What's up, guys? I'm Chris Spags here, back with another Four Corners video of today's 9-game MLB main slate, courtesy of Awesemo.com. Now, there's going to be a lot of weather to keep an eye on today as storms are working their way down the East Coast, but there also should be a lot of decent hitting environments, so you know what that means. Like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. If you are correct, you will win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. All you have to do is like the video and give your guess who's going to hit a double dong today. We only had one guy who did it on Friday, Marcus Semien, and nobody got him right. Nobody would have been expected to get him right given his low home run power. But that's how baseball works. So like the video, comment your double dong pick down below for your chance to win a free month of an Awesemo Plus membership. But let's get on to today's slate. In the first corner I'm going to hit on are the top pitchers today, and Chris Sale going against Texas is the guy who jumps out. He gets 2.8 implied runs against him, which are a slate low. He's expected to be the number one owned pitcher on DraftKings with 37%. It'll be number 2 on Yahoo with 31%. Texas strikes out at a 26.4% rate versus left-hand pitching and is unable to generate runs with an 86 WRC+, while Sale brings a 12.8% K per 9 and 14.4% swing strike rate to the game, which are tops on the slate. Again, the spot here versus Texas, the team has been really bad versus left-handed pitching on the year. It's a nice spot for Sale again. Being in Boston's also going to be better than being in Texas, so I'd like the spot for Sale all around. I'm willing to pay for him because his price really probably isn't as high as it should be given how amazing he's been recently. Kevin Gausman versus Pittsburgh is also going to be a popular option today with 4.5 implied runs against him. His cheap price is expected to make him the number one owned on FanDuel with 25%. It'll be comparably owned on the SP2 sites of DraftKings and Yahoo. Gausman's 9 Ks per 9 and 13.2% swing strike rate are solid, but in a positive hitting park with warm weather going against a Pittsburgh team who only strikes out at a 20.7% rate versus right-hand pitching, it seems like a spot to me to go under the field and get some Pittsburgh bats at low ownership as leverage. I think the spot here for Pittsburgh actually is pretty good. Getting some leverage on the field would be nice. I think if you want to have some Gausman exposure, that's fine, but I would be going under the field here because I do think it's a spot here where people may be sleeping on Pittsburgh and just how good of a hitting team they've been on the year. And Masahiro Tanaka versus the Mets is also a pitcher who will find some ownership today with 3.9 implied runs against him. He's number one owned on Yahoo at 32%, and he'll be decently owned on DraftKings too. There are some weather concerns for this game right now, and while Tanaka's 8 Ks per 9 and 11.1% swing strike rate are decent for his price, he may not be the most appealing versus a Mets lineup who has a 21.4% K rate versus right-hand pitching, which is under league average, and also a solid 108 WRC+. I think I'd be inclined to go to some Mets stacks going against Tanaka here. I'm not crazy about him given the low K upside I think I see in this matchup. So Tanaka's a guy, I get why he's going to be having some ownership at the price he's at, but I really rather would go elsewhere. On to our next corner of the top stacks on the slate, in a Washington stack going against Odris Sommer. Despaigne should be one that's good today. They get 5.9 implied runs for them, which is a slate high. This is going to be Despaigne's first start of the year, but he did limit home runs well going back to last year with a 2.1% home run rate, but he did give up 11.2 hits per 9 allowed, and that could add up fast for Washington. Washington will be well owned today with 10.7% aggregate ownership expected, but their 13.3% chance of being the top stack means that they're still under-owned relative to the spot due to the high prices, and that's courtesy of our top stacks tool at Awesemo.com. With a game in Coors and some other spots here with high-priced bats, people may be sleeping a bit on Washington, a nice opportunity they have. It's a high Vegas total, positive hitting park, and a spot here versus Despaigne, who really hasn't shown a lot of good stuff, even though he can limit home runs decently enough. Colorado stack versus Yu Darvish should also find some ownership today with 5.8 implied runs for them at Coors. Darvish's ability to get strikeouts at 10.6 Ks per 9, but also giving up home runs at a 3.7% home run rate make for an interesting tournament spot. Darvish struggles more versus lefties with 9.4 hits per 9 and a 4.5% home run rate allowed compared to 6.6 hits per 9 and a 3.1% home run rate allowed to righties. And that should make guys like Charlie Blackmon, David Dahl, and Daniel Murphy more appealing. But everyone here is viable with Yu's ability to either strike guys out or give up base runners and big power. Yu's gotten strikeouts on the year, but his ability to give up big power could be really problematic in Coors. I do think I'll have some exposure both ways because Yu is really reasonably priced for a guy who could strike out as many guys as he has. But the spot for Colorado also looks good, and obviously the Vegas total is certainly supporting them more than it is Yu. And a Philly stack versus Taylor Clark should also find some ownership today with 5.2 implied runs for them. Clark has not missed bats at all with an 8.4% swing strike rate and 6 Ks per 9 in a limited majors run so far. Clark has also been much worse versus lefties with a 1.7 whip, 6.5 xFIP, and 3.4% home run rate allowed compared to a 0.75 whip, 1.9 xFIP, and 0% home run rate versus righties. It's a limited sample size, so obviously that can change, but guys like Bryce Harper and Jay Bruce should gain some appeal here relative to the full stack because they're hitting from the left side of the plate. I would personally favor mini stacks to full stacks here because I think there's not going to be enough production necessarily, but Clark has been bad enough where I could see wanting to get the full stacks in there. I think for me personally, though, I'd favor the lefties here, and again, particularly Harper and Bruce. On to our next corner, the lower owned options on today's slate, in a Tampa Bay stack going against Tanner Anderson as a team who I like. They get 5.1 implied runs for them, and Anderson's spot start can be productive for Tampa Bay given Anderson's iffy minor league stats, and also 11.9 hits per 9 allowed in a very limited MLB sample size. Tampa Bay's projected lineup has a 199 ISO and a 118 WRC+ versus right-hand pitching, so even though Anderson does induce ground balls well with just a 10% fly ball rate, they should find ways to produce runs. I think Tampa Bay's in a nice spot here, and the fact that Anderson hasn't given up a ton of power doesn't worry me at all, because if anything, I think that makes it more likely to Tampa Bay bats around on him. I like the spot for Tampa here quite a bit, and the ownership isn't there for them much at all. Michael Wacha versus Miami is also a guy who should have some ownership on him. him today, but he's going to be lower on some of the other guys out there. Gets 4 implied runs against him, and Wacha will have some ownership, but Miami's 25.1% K rate versus right-hand pitching make him an interesting option on SP2 sites. Miami's bats can be leveraged if Wacha ends up over-owned with a 5.1% home run rate and 10.3 hits per 9 allowed from Wacha, but his 8.6 Ks per 9 can be interesting given the matchup and his price point. Again, I don't mind Wacha here because he's going to help you afford some of those higher priced bats, but he is still a guy who has some real serious downsides here, and even going against Miami, the team is certainly starting to heat up a little bit over the last week or so. I don't mind having some exposure both ways here. And Atlanta stack versus Joe Musgrove also interests me with 5.6 implied runs for them. Musgrove has started to level out with a 1.2 whip, but a positive hitting park and a warm weather environment offers some opportunity for a solid price Atlanta. Musgrove's lefty struggles with 10.3 hits per 9 allowed compared to 7.3 hits per 9 allowed to righties, makes guys like Freddie Freeman and Nick Markakis a bit more interesting, but a full stack can get there. Atlanta's just a good hitting team, and which should be a humid hitting situation as well. I think the spot here for a full stack makes sense, and also some mini stacks and one-offs as well. It's a warm weather day with a lot of quality hitting around, and also some pitchers with some obvious flaws, so I'm going to go with another stack here instead of forcing in a crappy pitcher to talk about. An Arizona stack going against Jared Eichhoff interests me with 4.3 implied runs for them. Eichhoff has struggled heavily versus lefties with 50% hard contact allowed, as well as a 6.7% home run rate, while Arizona's projected lineup features several decent lefties. David Peralta's 147 WRC plus versus righties jumps out, but the top 3 with fellow lefties Jared Dyson and Eduardo Escobar can be interesting, with full stacks not far off. I think mini stacks here, full stacks can be interesting here, though again, another game where you have to watch the weather closely because there are some potential rain issues in Philly. Now on to our last corner of the one-offs, and Bryce Harper going against Taylor Clark is a one-off I like quite a bit. It's a solid price for Harper given Clark 6.5 xFIP and 10 hits per 9 allowed to lefties. Going against Harper was a 238 ISO and a 127 WRC plus versus right-handed pitching. Harper's got a ton of power. He's in a positive hitting park. As long as the weather there is okay, I think the spot for Harper's nice given that he's still a pretty decent value price. And in the same game, a guy I just mentioned, David Peralta going against Jared Eichhoff, is also a one-off I like a lot. Peralta generates 49.7% hard contact versus right-hand pitching, along with that 147 WRC plus. He also has a 5% home run rate. Now he's in a decent hitting park going against Eichhoff with some pronouncedly poor lefty splits. I think it's a really nice spot for Peralta as a one-off or as part of that stack for Arizona. And Daniel Murphy versus Yu Darvish is a Colorado one-off I like quite a bit. Murphy's 11% K rate versus right-hand pitching makes it less likely that Yu strikes him out with that overwhelming strikeout power, while Murphy's 192 ISO is just enough power at Coors Field to make life hard on Yu. You can make an argument for a lot of the hitters on Colorado, but I think Murphy's in an interesting spot here because you know he's probably not going to strike out. And given that Yu does have that strikeout ability, I'm going to go with a guy who's going to be able to get some contact, hopefully get a hit out of it, and hopefully he turns it into more. So there you have it. Those are my thoughts on today's slate. So watch the weather closely, as I mentioned, as we get closer to lock. And also like this video and comment your double dong pick down below. Again, it's a warm weather day. The ball should travel a little bit easier as long as these games are going off and aren't getting rained out. So like the video, comment your double dong pick. If you are correct, you'll be winning that free month of an Osmo Plus premium membership. But hey, if you don't want to win one, I won't begrudge you that at all. You can also use the promo code Switch and Hedge to get half off your first month or week of any Osmo Plus membership. Get all the ownership projections, the rankings, the top stacks tool, which I referenced in today's video, the deep dive column every day, the lineup builder, a lot of different things that'll help you make better MLB DFS lineups. So use that promo code Switch and Hedge to get half off your first month or week of any Osmo Plus membership. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags, because obviously the followers give me the validation I'm so much lacking in my day-to-day life. I'm like a living Black Mirror episode where all I want from you guys is to like me and give me 5 stars on Yelp. So please go right now, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Spags. I'll be back tomorrow with another Four Corners video, so good luck, guys.